in Long Island, New York. Mad Dog Unleashed. Eric, your turn. How are you today, pal? What do you have for me?
I'm doing good, dog. Before I get to the Nashville-Winnipeg series, with the Capitals, let's give Braden Holtby some credit here. He comes into the series down 2-0. He stabilizes Game 3 in basically a must-win game on the road. And Saturday afternoon, dog, in Game 5, they get outshot 16-1. They take a 3-2 lead going into the third period. He allows the tying goal 3 minutes in. But basically, from that point on, he stood on his head the rest of the third period to get that game to overtime, give his team an opportunity to go into the dressing room, regroup, and come on out. And the first 13 minutes of that overtime before Backstrom scored, the Capitals were the more aggressive team and dominated that period. I think Holtby is the reason why this team's in a position right now going to Columbus tonight, up 3-2. We've gotten on this guy in the past. He's played well, but has he made the timely save against the Penguins? No, he hasn't. But I think he gets a lot of credit for them. Coming back 0-2 down with a chance to clinch it tonight in Columbus. You know that?
I think I think you're right in everything you said. I think that that series turned when the Capitals got out of Game 3. Somewhere in the overtimes of Game 3, when Washington finally scored that freaky goal, the series turned. And, Washington is a franchise that never has a break, never gets any momentum, always gets snake bit. Holtby has not been great against Lundqvist in the 7th games, where he's lost $1 million of them. Last year, he got outplayed by Fleury with Pittsburgh. There is no question in my mind that Holtby, new lease on life. The Capitals have a lot of momentum. Now listen, that could turn the other way again because right. This is a good team, this Columbus team, and Borowski's played well. The other goalie. He's played well, so I wouldn't rule out. I wouldn't rule out Columbus still not winning, but I think the Capitals have a hell of a shot. I agree.
I agree with you. I actually think the Blue Jackets, I think they're. I saw a stat. They're 2-7 in their last 9 playoff home games. I actually think they're going to go home tonight, rebound, and win a low-scoring game. And this is what the Capitals do. They play Game 7s all the time. They're going to have another Game 7, I think, in their building, and they're going to have to get through the bugaboo of playing a Game 7 at home. It seems to always give them trouble. But
good point. You hit it right in the head. They got a lot of ghosts in Game 7s, and they'll be tight in Game 7. But maybe they need to win a Game 7 in their building after being down 2-0 to extinguish one of these ghosts. There's a lot of dragons with the Capitals, and to win a Stanley Cup finally, there's a lot of things they're going to have to go through. Coming from 2-0 down and winning a Game 7 at home might be one of those things just to get started. And then Pittsburgh will be sitting there in round 2. So it's out there for the Capitals. Let's see if they do something with it. Go ahead.
Two more quick points. With Saturday, bad job by the NHL. They got 2 games at 3 o'clock. 1 game's on NBC locally here in New York, which is the Devil game. They got the Capitals and Blue Jackets on NBCSN at 3 o'clock. I mean,
I could not find it. By the way, I could not find that game on my NBC Sportsnet. Was that game on somewhere, the Capital game?
So it was NBC and NBCSN. So for some reason, if your NBCSN did not carry the Capitals and Blue Jackets, then I don't know what they're doing or what the cable provider
I did not, and I have DirecTV. I could not find that game on NBC Sportsnet. Go ahead.
That's interesting, but bad job. They got to separate those games. I understand they got the Leafs and Bruins at 8 o'clock in prime time. They don't want to go up against NBC with Channel 4, but you can't have 2 games starting at 3 o'clock up against each other in that time slot. And as far as Nashville and Winnipeg goes, dog, listen. I have money on Nashville to win the Cup. I told you, back in January, I made the play at 12-1. But from what I've seen in Nashville in the first 6 games against Colorado, they were lucky in some of those games to survive and win that series. They went up against, an inferior team in the Avalanche. Give Colorado credit. They played well. But if Nashville doesn't raise their level of play against Winnipeg, they're not going to get out of that series alive. To me, Winnipeg has been the most dominant team in the first round from what I've seen. I understand Vegas won in a sweep with 4 games, 1-goal game. Same thing with San Jose. But Winnipeg has been very impressive. That's to me, that's a conference final in the second round of the playoffs right now. That Nashville-Winnipeg winner is going to represent the West. And Winnipeg is going to be a lot to handle if Nashville doesn't elevate their game.
Excellent point. I'm with you on both. Well done there. Mike in Orange County, California says hello. Mike, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What do you have for me?
Chris, how you doing, man?
Michael, nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? What do you have for me?
Hey, listen. I want to talk about Darnold versus Rosen, but first of all, the hockey deal is ridiculous. The network deal is absolutely ridiculous. Finding these games, like you say,
very hard.
NBC Sports,
very hard.
I mean, what is going on?
There's too many channels. I mean, if you're at the problem that hockey has with the TV network when the contracts is that if you're not a hockey fan, if you're just a casual fan, you can't find the games. Yeah. NBC Sportsnet, NBC, USA, CNBC, and MSNBC. There's too many channels. Bravo's another one. There's too many damn channels. You can't find them. I mean, it drives you.
Back to the old days.
It drives you crazy. Go ahead.
It drives me nuts. Hey, let me talk about the Darnold and Rosen thing. This is driving me crazy, too. Okay, I'm a Bruin fan. I've seen Rosen play every game. I saw Sam play most of his games. I don't know what these scouts are thinking. Go back to the USC-UCLA game. Talk to Kirk Herbstreit this week. He said, and I agree, Darnold's not even ready for the pros after that game last year. Rosen completely outplayed him. Rosen did not have a line, basically, for 4
Yeah, Rosen played well in the game. Rosen played well in that game, 100% right.
He played great. But I'm saying all year long, he had a patchwork line. The kid's got a pure arm. Darnold, the feet shuffle a bit. It's just all about this whole, he could shrug off guys, racing after, but he doesn't have a ton of experience. I'm telling you, Rosen, I think, could be the better pro.
Listen, I understand that. I think there's some truth to that. We will talk to, and good call, Gary will join us. Phil Simms later in the week, too. We'll get into that, and we'll be all over it. Frank is in Staten Island, New York, and he says hello. Frank, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Mad Dog. How are you?
Hello, Frank. Nice to have you with us. What's on your mind now? What do you have for me?
I'm a big Howard fan, but that's beside the point. I'm curious about Aaron Boone.
Yes, go ahead.
Does he have the whole year, you think?
I'm sorry?
So you think he has the whole year?
Oh, God, yeah, Frank. Yes,
all right.
the whole year.
What if they're 40 and 60, say, after 100?
Yes. The Yankees have too much, and first off, they're not going to be 40 and 60. The Yankees have too much invested in Boone, and he's not costing them a ton of money anyway. That would be real egg on the Yankee faces if they got rid of Boone because they were trying to salvage a year. You have nothing to worry about as far as Boone is concerned. Rob in Orange County, California, and he says hello and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Rob, good afternoon. Your turn. How are you today?
Hey, Dog. How you doing?
Fine, Rob. Thank you. What's on your mind now? Shoot.
What's going on? So, listening, I'm sitting here at work. I got you stationed on all the time, listening to all this banter going back and forth. The thing that drives me crazy, and I understand about the hockey, there's too many networks, this and that. I haven't heard it mentioned once, and I don't know if you knew this either. Freaking Sean Couturier of the Flyers tore his MCL in practice before Game 4.
Yeah, and he played in that series.
And he had a freaking hat trick, and he had 2 assists on he had a point on every goal in that game. Yet you got Steph Curry sitting out with this sprained MCL, and he can't even practice. Oh, his MCL hurts. And in 2 hours, I got to listen to Nicole and Bucher talking about basketball all the time. And Nicole, she's always ripping on hockey, this and that. How about you pay attention to hockey? These guys are playing with a torn MCL.
No, it's different.
A basketball player can't even run up.
Well, hold on now. They have to look at him a little more long term. They got a lot of money invested in him. The hockey guy doesn't make as much money. Who knows? I don't want to play doctor. I've done that before and I've gotten burned, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut about that. The bottom line is, you would think that if they were really in a desperate spot, maybe Curry could play. You got to keep that in mind here, too. All right, lots to do. Good to have him with us here this afternoon. I had Girardi on TV today for the first time. Very good.
Oh, tell me.
He was on in camera, a couple of different things. You ready? First off, he wants to manage in a minute. The Reds did not call him, as he said, at least. Couple of things that are interesting. One, he did not miss spring training because he hates spring training, which I never realized, because he hates cutting players. And he hates the idea that if the games don't count, because he doesn't like bringing closers in the 5th and 6th inning. He doesn't like the idea that it's about the player pace more so than about wins and losses. I thought that was interesting. Definitely wants to manage. Thinks that he did not earn his stripes with the Yankees when he got here in '96 until he caught Gooden's no-hitter. And he says, you have to be accepted by the Yankee fan. And a lot of players get nervous with that. And he thinks that's what's going on now with Stanton.
Interesting.
Because he said, look at, Tino had that issue. I had that issue. So I thought that was interesting.
Did you see the comments he made about Stanton? I guess it was a story that I read. I think it was it Neil Best who wrote the story? I think it was from Newsday in New York, where he said, yeah, they may be booing him, but it's because they want him to succeed so badly as opposed to like animosity.
No, he's wrong.
You know what I mean?
He's wrong.
That's what his thought was.
That's stupid. That's not
because
the
he felt like that was the same thing with Tino. Remember how poor Tino started when he came in?
Well, Tino got booed because he replaced Mattingly.
Yeah, but he was also 2 for 37 or something like that at the beginning. He hit that big home run in Baltimore in an extra inning.
I remember Tino did not play in the World Series. He put Fielder in there. They benched Tino. Fielder was the first.
They platooned him in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they platooned him. He didn't play. Fielder played all 3 games. Fielder got the hit against Smoltz down the left field line, the double. He was not platooned. He did not play in the games in Atlanta.
Right.
DH.
No, I understand that.
Cecil Fielder was the Yankee first baseman. Tino
I
sat on the
was
bench.
at every game. I remember, Chris. I'm aware.
Well, he didn't platoon, Steve. He got the double against Smoltz.
I understand that. What I meant was he started the games at Yankee Stadium and did not start the games.
Well, that's because at Yankee Stadium you can have Fielder be the DH.
Yes.
And when there was no DH.
Just like Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs didn't play.
Exactly right. But we're not talking Boggs. We're talking Tino. Tino was benched in the World Series in Atlanta.
He was not a great postseason performer.
Well, he had his moments later on.
Well, he hit that grand slam against Langston.
And he hit the home run against the against the Diamondbacks, which got him even in the 9th inning.
Late in his career.
He had a couple.
Wasn't great. Not a great postseason career.
Anyway, to make a long story short,
that's just you being.
Well, you did say that he was platooned. He was not platooned, Steve. In Atlanta, he was. See, in New York, he had a chance.
I understand. You right because in the National League Park, you can't use a designated
you
hitter.
agree that your platoon's the wrong word?
Yeah, I just told you. Poor choice of words.
Okay. Well, no, you just said it for the first time.
No, I said it 15 seconds ago.
Okay. Right. Well, anyway, Girardi was good today. You would have enjoyed it. He definitely wants some.
I would have enjoyed that a lot more than this. I'll tell you that.
Right, he was good. He came on first time. He was stunned. He was fired the day after Game 7. He definitely thought he was coming back. You would have enjoyed the spot.
I remember the press conference in Houston. You got the feeling he wanted in.
Oh, in a worse way, and he was surprised he got fired. And I brought up the money.
Where's the fit for him though? Out there, like what possible job could he get?
I'll give you a couple. Somebody told me this one today, and it's a good one. And I hadn't thought of it.
The Orioles?
No. He wouldn't fire. I don't think he'd go to. But I don't think he realizes the Orioles are the Red Sox and the Yankees. How about Atlanta? Close to Boca, where he lives.
Yeah.
Braves have a lot of young players, and they got a lot of stars on that team. Anthopoulos, American League East, knows him. I could see him going to Atlanta. And Anthopoulos is not one of those guys who's nuts with the dopey analytics. Gibbons he hired, things like that. I could see him going to Atlanta. A lot of people bring up the Cardinals if Matheny has a bad year. That's the other one
that makes a lot of sense. But right now they're in first place, so you can't say anything.
Can't say anything.
And then people were talking about Philadelphia before the Phillies all of a sudden started playing well.
Good story on Gabe Kapler on Sports Illustrated this week. I'm sure you read it.
I did not.
I didn't think you had. All right. And a story that just came out in New York Post. Did you read this?
I did. About your old partner?
Yeah. I'll read you the first line. It says it all. Mikey desperately misses doing New York sports radio and is trying to get back on the air, sources told the Post.
And that doesn't necessarily mean his old stomping grounds.
Well, I mean, he can't go. I guess he's talked to OR, but they got Hannity and they got Limbaugh, so he can't go there. They're on 12 to 6. Those guys make that station a fortune. And I don't think he's going to go to ESPN because they got Kay, who's done pretty well, and Kay just beat FAN as it is. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's going to go there. So where would he go?
But would he go there in a different day part?
I don't see Mike. You think Mike's going to take a back seat to Kay? Not a chance.
And then Stephen A. in the New York market too.
No chance. Yeah, not a chance in America. He's not doing that. So
what options are there out there?
FAN.
Bring him back.
You tell me.
Well, that's awfully fast.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. I don't know where unless we get him here to do 1 to 3.
Well, that's not New York radio. This is national.
What could we? Could he go on in the morning with Boomer? He can't do that.
I don't think they'd want to be partners, would they?
Yeah, very interesting. Andrew Marchand all over it. Eddie Erickson.
Well, I'm sure that's a story.
Faxed everybody a story about it. Go ahead, you make it.
I'm sure that's a story that you'll be following closely in the days to come.
I find it fascinating. I think Mike retired too early. You know, Walter Cronkite retired too early. That great Walter Cronkite book. He left CBS, and Rather walked in there, and Rather, who got his chair out and took everything out, and Cronkite was bored stiff for the next 10 years of his life, realized he shouldn't have quit. The lesson is don't quit too soon. That's for you. I know you thought about it. Hey, there's a fine line there. You can't stay too long where people don't want to hear you. You can make that argument.
Right.
And you can't leave too quick, because if you leave too quick, nobody's going to rehire you when you go. It's going to be hard.
Right. You're at an age where you're not as desirable.
So it's a very tricky fine line. You got to handle that. When you go, you got to handle that retirement.
That's it. Well, I'll look for you for advice whenever that time comes.
Well, I mean, who knows what I'll do? But I mean, the bottom line is you right now who has forged. And by the way, I spent some time with Tracy Wolfson this weekend.
Well, we love Tracy.
It does a great job, and you guys tried to get around last week about the Ali DeForce question.
Ali LaForce, yes.
Ali LaForce, I said DeForce. LaForce question to LeBron, which I didn't have a problem with. Anyway, she is a huge fan. You found one. The huge fan of Steve and Danny Cannell.
Oh, that's good. We did find one. You got to start somewhere.
Very good.
That's nice to hear.
Huge. Loves the two of you. That's very nice.
So
I was good to hear that.
Absolutely.
Very good. Anything else you want to tell me today?
Not really, no. But Danny Farquhar's doing better.
Well, give me the latest.
Yeah, so they released a statement. He's alert, responding to questions from doctors. He's able to speak with family members. And the surgery to relieve the swelling on the brain is actually considered successful, and he's expected to be hospitalized for the next 3 weeks.
Right. Listen, I wouldn't think why wouldn't he be able to pitch again? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, let's get his health.
Too soon.
Let's get his health ironed out, and then we go from there.
That was a scary scene there on Saturday night. I did not see it live.
I didn't either. Who's watching the White Sox and the Astros?
At 12-1 Houston in a 20-degree night. You may continue. Yes.
The Astros play tonight against the Angels, start of a big series.
Ohtani will pitch tomorrow, which means he misses the Yankees this weekend. And they have this Sunday night game, and I'm sure they were dying to get Ohtani to pitch against the Yankees, but he is out because they have a day off Thursday and only got 3 games after tomorrow night, so he will not pitch in that series.
I was wondering about that. Yeah, that's right, Sunday night games. Jeez. Then the Yankees go to Houston for 4 games after that. It's just a fantastic schedule.
That's a very good point. That's unfair. The Yankees play Sunday night in Houston and then Monday night in Sunday night in Anaheim.
It's typical. I do this every year. It's the same stuff.
It's a 3-hour plane ride, not right. You may continue.
NBA playoffs tonight. You've got Minnesota trying to pull even with Houston. Give them any chance?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd give them a chance.
And I'm interested in Utah, Oklahoma City, but not at 10:30 Eastern. Can I
10:47.
Whatever.
Go ahead. Even worse.
Why couldn't they have put the Spurs? And I know why the answer is, but couldn't they have put the Spurs and the Warriors on instead of at 8:45 last night instead of the?
Somebody else brought that up to me
come on.
You want the Cavs on in the midday?
Yeah, well, it would have been better.
Why couldn't you do this?
Or even the 6 o'clock game.
And we want to put the Wizards.
Yeah, well, put the Wizards at 3:30.
Well, they don't want the ABC doesn't want Toronto because it's not rated.
Yeah.
So you can't put Toronto in that spot.
I understand everything, but it's just it's annoying.
Your argument was Spurs at night and switch with Cleveland and Indiana. Here's the issue I have for you tonight. Is at the end of the world, could they play the game at 6 o'clock local in Minnesota tonight?
Yeah, I think they could have.
And you got to play it at 7 o'clock, because if you play it at 6, there's the Oklahoma City game.
And they start at 9:30.
Right, and so now Oklahoma City plays the game tonight. It's a 8:45 local time.
Right.
And last night on a Sunday night, no time difference in Indiana. Last night on a Sunday night, the game started at 10 of 9 on a Sunday night.
It's ridiculous.
Now, who in America, if you got a high school kid, is going to let him go to and you got to commute 40 minutes to you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Stupid. Really bothered me, and I was at home.
Josh, you're crazy. Anything else?
Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, 2 Game 6s. You have 2 teams on the road that can wrap up series, Washington in Columbus, and, of course, the Bruins in Toronto. I was very surprised the Maple Leafs won that game the other night.
I was, too. I think one will win and one will lose.
Don't you have a feeling
I think Columbus will win, and I think the Bruins
Washington,
will win.
if they're going to torture their fans. So
I think they might win this time.
Well, they might win the series, but they're going to torture them. They're going to go home for Game 7 or probably go to overtime.
Yeah, probably right. You may continue.
The Ravens signed Willie Snead, which means no Des Bryant in Baltimore and all, apparently. And John Lynch, the 49er GM, said that they will release Reuben Foster if those domestic violence allegations brought up against him are true.
All right. Anything else?
That's about it.
All right, very good. Steve Torrey, good to have him with us. Let's go right back to the calls.